Honestly, he got a fight next week, right? So, it seemed like he focused on me, and Lamont Roach is focused on him. I think I'm gonna go put my bet in on Lamont Roach.
As you told sports.
Gervonta Tank Davis and Lamont Roach are just hours away from stepping into the ring, and the anticipation is at an all-time high. As fight night approaches, boxing insiders and analysts have weighed in with their final predictions, and while Davis remains the heavy favorite, Roach's unwavering confidence has caught the attention of many. Throughout the press conferences and build-up, Roach has presented himself as more than just an underdog, earning the belief of several boxing professionals who think he could make this fight more competitive than expected. However, Davis is far from an easy opponent. His undefeated record isn't just for show. When he steps into the ring, he does what he's supposed to do and handles business. With an unblemished record of 30 wins and 28 knockouts,
Makeup of a Tank Davis is surprising to most fighters. It won't be surprising to Lamont Roach. And Lamont is a DMV fighter himself, which means he got that dog, It's going to be a good fight.
Davis has established himself as one of boxing's most dangerous finishers. His current streak includes 21 consecutive knockouts or technical knockouts, with the only exception being his decision win against the relentless Isaac Pitbull Cruz. In his last fight, Davis faced Frank Martin in June, showcasing his explosive speed and devastating power to secure an 8th-round knockout. He remains a force to be reckoned with, and many believe Roach is stepping into the most dangerous fight of his career. Roach, a reigning junior lightweight champion, is taking a big risk by moving up in weight to face Davis. While some see this as a bold move, others believe Davis intentionally picked a smaller opponent to maintain his perfect record. Critics argue that the fight lacks the kind of high-stakes intensity that a showdown against another elite lightweight would bring. Teofimo Lopez, a 2-division champion and one of Davis's most vocal critics, has dismissed Roach's championship status.
But obviously he here for a reason. He do what he's supposed to do with the guys that's in front of him.
And labeled the matchup a mismatch. Lopez, who recently made it clear he's looking for a fight with Davis later this year, did not hold back in a recent interview with Fight Hype. He questioned Davis's willingness to face top-tier competition and accused his management of carefully protecting him from real threats. He referenced the long-standing claims that Davis's team deliberately avoided a fight with Vasily Lomachenko, keeping him under close control to build a safer path to success. Lopez pointed out how many times Mayweather Promotions stated that Davis wasn't ready for Loma, and how often Floyd Mayweather himself had to speak on Davis's behalf. In addition to calling out Davis's career choices, Lopez recalled a sparring session from 11 years ago when he was just 15 years old and Davis was already a professional at 18. While Lopez acknowledged Davis's aggressive approach in the ring, he didn't believe much could be taken from the experience. Still, despite his criticisms, Lopez respects Davis's skills.
If you switch it up now, it ain't gonna do too much. We don't have enough time to switch it up,
He admitted in a past interview with Fight Sports that Davis is no easy opponent, but made it clear he believes he is the only fighter capable of dethroning Tank. He confidently stated that nobody else could do the job, implying that if the boxing world wants to see Davis lose, he would be the one to make it happen. Claressa Shields, the undisputed female boxing champion and a known rival of Davis, took a surprisingly neutral stance on the fight. While she has had a public feud with Davis, she acknowledged Roach's amateur pedigree and skills, stating that he is a solid and experienced fighter who shouldn't be overlooked. However, she also gave Davis his credit, calling him a bad man in the ring and reaffirming his reputation as one of the toughest fighters in the sport. Despite their past tensions, Shields admitted she would be watching the fight and had no problem buying the pay-per-view, emphasizing that the matchup could be more technical than expected.
You're about to put him with a guy at 130 pounds. Whether he's a champion or not, you're getting a guy lighter than you to come up and weight to make you look good again.
Tim Bradley, on the other hand, didn't hold back in his criticism. He outright dismissed the fight as part of the Tank Protection Program, a long-running belief that Davis's team deliberately selects weaker opponents to make him look unstoppable. Bradley called out the pattern of Davis facing fighters moving up from lower weight classes, stating that while Davis always looks spectacular, it's because he isn't being tested the way he should be. He urged Davis to face real competition, stating that the sport has plenty of worthy challengers, particularly Edwin de los Santos. Bradley insisted that fans would gladly pay to see Davis take on de los Santos, but he suggested that Davis's team might be avoiding the fight out of fear of de los Santos' power.
I got it. Turn on the face of the crowd. Cameras in the back, guys. Actually, camera in the back. Camera in the back.
With all the talk leading up to this fight, the real test comes when the bell rings. Some believe Roach has the skills to surprise the world, while others see this as another carefully selected matchup designed to keep Davis's undefeated record intact. Whether this fight ends in another highlight reel knockout for Davis or Roach proves the doubters wrong, the boxing world will be watching closely. Once that first punch lands, all the speculation, criticism, and predictions will no longer matter. It'll be up to Davis and Roach to settle things in the ring. Gervonta Tank Davis had a lot to say when Shocker Stevenson dominated Edwin de los Santos, yet he seems unwilling to step into the ring with de los Santos himself.
You know, and now look where that got him. So the whole thing is all about, man, just, I'm a real fighter. That's what it is, man, the truth. And the truth hurts a lot of people, but they got to learn.
Many fans believe that's the fight everyone truly wants, and they aren't particularly excited about a pay-per-view featuring Lamont Roach. While Tank's name alone will attract viewers, the pay-per-view numbers he's hoping for might not materialize. This event could be more of a financial gamble than a guaranteed hit. Kenneth Sims Jr. initially tried to avoid predicting the outcome of the fight, as he shares a good relationship with both fighters and felt it would be disrespectful to choose sides. However, he later reflected on his history with Roach, recalling their battle in the Nationals and how they shared some memorable moments. When asked about strategy, Sims pointed out that both Davis and Roach are counterpunchers, meaning one of them will have to step out of their usual style and take the initiative to create openings.
Take it in. I beat Lomachenko. For me, I scored a 9-3. For you guys, I could care less because y'all don't know shit about boxing.
Sims also emphasized that Davis is known for starting slow, gradually increasing his intensity as the fight progresses. While this approach has worked for Tank in the past, Sims warned that against a fighter like Roach, who is quick and skilled at racking up early points, this could be risky. To avoid falling behind on the scorecards, Tank may need to step on the gas sooner than he usually does. Given that many fans have already dismissed Roach's chances, Sims' take on the fight was an interesting contrast to the widespread skepticism. Eddie Hearn also weighed in on the matchup, defending Roach and arguing that the backlash was unwarranted. Many fans were caught off guard when Roach was announced as Tank's opponent for the December 14 bout, with critics feeling the choice was underwhelming.
I ain't wonderful to play with.
I respect it, man.
Hearn acknowledged that Roach is a talented fighter but admitted that his lack of name recognition is the real issue. With Tank being such a major star, people expect him to take on the biggest names, and this fight doesn't carry that level of excitement. However, Hearn believes Tank didn't have many better options. Several top fighters were unavailable. Ryan Garcia is currently suspended, Shocker Stevenson is injured, Isaac Pitbull Cruz recently suffered a loss, Devin Haney has moved up in weight, and Vasily Lomachenko has decided to sit out the rest of 2024. While other contenders like Edwin de los Santos, Andy Cruz, Keyshawn Davis, and Raymond Muratalla were available, none of them are widely recognized by casual fans. Hearn argued that even if Tank had chosen one of them instead of Roach, it wouldn't have made much of a difference in terms of PPV sales because they lack mainstream appeal. The backlash against the fight isn't just about Roach's name value. Many fans simply don't believe he has a real shot at winning. However, this fight presents the biggest opportunity of Roach's career. If he can capitalize on Tank's slow starts and control the early rounds, he might be able to make the fight competitive. While the odds are stacked against him, boxing has a history of shocking upsets, and Roach seems determined to defy expectations. Unlike those who view this fight as just a payday, Roach is stepping into the ring with a real purpose. He wants Tank's title, and he's training with that goal in mind. His motivation is fueled by personal tragedy, as he continues to carry the memory of his late coach with him.
Is this a pay-per-view fight though? Would you buy it? Are you gonna buy it?
Fighters who are driven by personal loss often bring an extra level of determination, and even Tank knows that beating someone fighting with that kind of emotion is never easy. This situation mirrors Buster Douglas's historic upset over Mike Tyson, which came shortly after Douglas lost his mother, a moment that proved boxing is full of unpredictable outcomes. Meanwhile,
from a lower weight class to get into a Tank. Tank looks spectacular, but it's a cover-up. I'm gonna tell you right now, I think Tank is a good fighter. They're saying they don't have an opponent.
Teofimo Lopez has hinted at moving up in weight but hasn't locked in his next fight. As for Tank, he's expected to return in December, likely facing Roach in Washington. DHC former champion Gary Russell Jr. has not held back in his criticism of Tank, accusing him of carefully selecting weaker opponents to protect his record. Russell believes that Tank has been holding the WHBHA's secondary lightweight title for years to avoid facing the division's biggest threats. Russell dismissed Roach as a legitimate challenge and said this pattern of handpicking opponents has been going on for Tank's entire career.
De Los Santos, and the fans wouldn't mind paying for a De Los Santos fight, but they're covering something. I don't know what it is. Is it the power of De Los?
He pointed out that the only time Tank fought someone the fans truly wanted to see was against Ryan Garcia, but that fight came with weight stipulations that drained Garcia and made the bout feel one-sided. When asked how much longer Tank can continue picking lower-level opponents, Russell suggested that as long as he maintains a loyal fan base and doesn't rely on massive pay-per-view numbers, he might be able to keep doing this until he retires. He argued that many of Tank's supporters aren't deeply knowledgeable about boxing, so as far as they're concerned, Roach is a top-tier opponent. However, those who follow the sport more closely know that Tank should be testing himself against elite competition. Regardless of the criticism, the fight is happening, and Roach is preparing for the biggest moment of his career.
Like a great fight for boxing. I think that boxing fans are trying to basically shut Lamont out. I don't know, maybe because he's not a big name.
Whether he can rise to the occasion or if Tank will once again prove why he's one of the sport's biggest stars remains to be seen. Gary Russell Jr. has not held back in his criticism of Gervonta Tank Davis, accusing the WBA lightweight champion of carefully selecting his opponents to avoid real challenges. According to Russell, Tank's decision to fight lesser-known fighters instead of top-tier competition is the reason he has struggled to reach blockbuster pay-per-view numbers. He firmly believes that as long as Davis continues down this path, he will never become a fighter who can generate 1 million buys per fight, as fans are losing interest in matchups that lack high-stakes drama and true competition. Russell pointed out that Tank had better options for his upcoming fight, but deliberately avoided them.
Do you think the fact that it is going to be a technical fight, do you think that favors Lamont, or does it favor?
If Davis were truly interested in proving himself against the best, he would be fighting Edwin de los Santos on December 14 instead of Lamont Roach. He also reminded fans that Tank had the opportunity to face Vasily Lomachenko back in 2017 when Lomachenko first called him out, but the fight never materialized. To Russell, this is just another example of Davis and his team strategically avoiding risky fights that could threaten his undefeated record. He expressed his frustration with how Tank's career is being managed, saying that boxing fans deserve to see the best fight the best. Instead, he claims they are being misled into thinking Tank is taking on legitimate threats when in reality, he is choosing opponents who do not pose a serious challenge.
I think that, it's had a lot of criticism, but
He argued that people continuously question why Davis is fighting lesser-known names, and the answer is simple: because the truly tough fights are too risky. Although Russell acknowledged that Lamont Roach is a solid boxer, he insisted that there are different levels in the sport and that Roach is not on the same tier as Tank. He dismissed this matchup as a legitimate test for Davis, stating that Roach was essentially being handpicked from the super featherweight division to make the fight look competitive while still being a safe bet for Tank. When discussing how the fight might play out, Russell predicted that Roach might make the early rounds competitive.
I won't be doing my phases for this one because we know the family,
Yeah.
that thing.
But ultimately, Tank's power, pressure, and ability to wear opponents down would result in either a knockout or a TKO victory. He emphasized that this fight is more of a financial opportunity for Roach rather than a career-defining challenge for Davis. According to him, no one truly believes Roach is a threat, which is why the fight has failed to generate the kind of excitement expected from a Tank-Davis matchup. Despite the backlash, some fighters have come to Roach's defense. Undefeated super lightweight Richardson Hitchens noted that Roach and Davis come from similar backgrounds and have faced adversity in their careers. He argued that Roach is being unfairly dismissed due to his 2019 loss against Jamel Herring, despite having shown consistency and improvement since then.
Lamont Roach is a world champion. He's smaller than Gervonta Davis. The problem is not many people are aware of who he is or his ability. But
Hitchens insisted that Roach is not someone to overlook and that the fight could be more competitive than people expect. Hitchens described the matchup as a technical showdown, highlighting that while Roach has skill, Tank's defensive abilities and experience give him the upper hand. He explained that Davis is a defensive genius who knows how to protect himself and maneuver in the ring. According to him, Roach's best strategy would be to press the action early before Tank finds his rhythm. He pointed out that Davis tends to start slow but eventually takes control as the fight progresses, making the later rounds especially dangerous for Roach. Welterweight contender Kenneth Sims Jr.
Honestly, he got a fight next week, right? So, it seemed like he focused on me, and Lamont Roach is focused on him. I think I'm gonna go put my bet in on Lamont Roach.
Who has fought both Tank and Roach, also weighed in on the fight. Initially hesitant to pick a winner due to his respect for both men, he later admitted that while Roach is a skilled fighter, Tank remains the clear favorite. Sims mentioned that both Roach and Tank are counterpunchers, meaning one of them will have to step out of their comfort zone and take risks to control the fight. He also noted that Tank is a notoriously slow starter, which could give Roach a small window of opportunity early in the fight. However, he warned that if Roach fails to capitalize on that, Davis will eventually pick up momentum and take over. As the fight approaches, the debate continues among boxing analysts and fans. Some believe Tank Davis will once again prove why he is one of the most dominant fighters in the sport, while others think Roach could defy expectations and shock the world. While the majority still consider Davis the heavy favorite.
Makeup of a Tank Davis is surprising to most fighters. It won't be surprising to Lamont Roach. And Lamont is a DMV fighter himself, which means he got that dog, you know? It's gonna be a good fight.
Roach sees this fight as the biggest opportunity of his career. If he manages to pull off the upset, it would not only change the trajectory of his career but also silence critics who have already written him off. With tensions rising and the date drawing closer, all eyes will be on the ring when Davis and Roach finally step in to settle the score. Fans are eager to see whether Tank will deliver another dominant performance or if Roach can pull off one of boxing's biggest upsets. That's all for now, fight fans. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update on the latest boxing news. Who do you think will come out on top, Tank Davis or Lamont Roach? Drop your predictions in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Stay tuned, stay sharp, and keep it locked in for more fight updates.